Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is the author Andrew Snorton, and you are joining me for the Fast 15. This is where each and every Wednesday, about 1:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we take about 15 minutes to kind of pause, check up, check in, enjoy a short passage from one of the books, audiobooks, or a favorite read of mine from the library, and then just try to get people on as positive a note as possible. To stay connected with me, make sure to add me on Facebook at the page Author Andrew Snorton, and make sure to add me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Author A Snorton. And when you add me on Instagram, click on the link in the bio. That will go to my press and media section where you can pull a copy of the press and media kit for interview requests, speaking engagements, things along those lines, as well as look at some of the archival interviews that I've been blessed to have with different outlets across the board. So I want to thank you guys for joining us today as we've got, our share of moving parts, but definitely wanted to make sure that we took the appropriate time to, again, just give everybody a chance to pause, breathe, things of that nature. As we always do with every show, we take time just to kind of acknowledge people who are going through some stuff. Some people are going through short-term things, some are going through some long-term things, some might be physical, mental, financial, things with family, friends, loved ones, self, stress, things along those lines. And we want to acknowledge that because those are real issues. So yes, we know some things have been heightened because of the COVID era or the COVID season, for lack of a better term. But we know that there's some people that are really going through some things, and all of us at varying degrees are going through something. So for those of you that are really feeling it, we just want to send a word of encouragement out to you, and we understand, and you have every right to feel hurt, upset, disappointed, frustrated, things along those lines. But you also owe it to yourself to take the time you need to positively and constructively pause, reboot, get the professional help that you need if the situation calls for it, or just get the informal help you need, whether it's that person who's a good sounding voice, things along those lines, because there are people who are counting on you, including you, to be the best person that you can, to be that presence. So for those of you that are really going through some stuff, just sending a word of encouragement out. By the same token, there's people who are going through success. You woke up this morning, that's successful. You actually cooked something or you accomplished something professionally, personally, that you didn't think you'd be able to do, that's allowing you to grow. And so we want to definitely celebrate that. Now, celebrate responsibly, but celebrate accordingly. So for people that are enjoying, levels of success, we just want to say congratulations, keep it going, feed off the positive energy, and just remember that we might have been that person that wasn't going, that wasn't having the same type of success or going through tough times. So let's not forget our peers are going through tough times. And speaking of, we're going to pull today's selection from Nine Stories of Faith, Volume 1. Nine Stories of Faith, Volume 1. This is my second book and probably my bestseller. And we're going to pull from Chapter 8, which is Davidson County's Person of Interest. Davidson County's Person of Interest. There we go. Davidson County's Person of Interest. Dealing with one of the people who I interviewed who lives in Davidson County, which is actually in the greater Nashville area. So shouts to the 615. And want to read this because it spoke to me given some stuff that I'm working through. And hopefully it'll speak to other people. So here it goes. So here's the quote we want to build on today. The only other thing is it's important to keep all things in perspective. Success, struggle, achievement, failure, loss, and gain, as they are all a part of the process of life. The things we experience here are temporary, both good and bad. We have to understand the broader perspective in that the struggle of today has a payoff tomorrow. The victory today has a lesson tomorrow. Those are pretty good words, and you notice how we always start off with just setting the tone and giving perspective, helping people dial some things back and just slow down the moving parts. And all things have to be kept in perspective. We know Don't get me wrong, you should celebrate success, but you don't let it go to your head. And just like they say, you don't let failure get to your heart. Because we've seen some instances where people have let success go to their head and they get out of control. So we don't want that to happen. It's not to say don't celebrate, but don't overdo it to where you lose sight of different things. The same thing with failure. Heck, I failed on stuff. That's just real talk. I failed on stuff. I've made my share of mistakes. Might make a few more, not by design, but that happens. Um, and you learn from those things. You learn how to make adjustments. You learn how to handle, let's say, failure or delays or things along those lines. You learn how to. You learn how to when you're not, quote, seeing things clearly, to just kind of pause and slow down. Is kind of the reason why we do this chat. The things we experience here are temporary. Now, sometimes temporary feels like a hell of a long time. It does. I'm not going to lie to you. But I think when you pause, it's like you can't always be in that type of state. At some point, things have to pivot in some way, shape, or form. They might not pivot to the scale that you prefer, but they're going to pivot in some way, shape, or form. And it's true that the struggle of today has a payoff for tomorrow, and a lot of it's perspective. And I've said before, and I said it again, when you achieve success, you know what you've been led through to get there. And if you had to deal with a lot of adversity on the way, you're going to celebrate accordingly. Like, you don't know what I've been through, not only through the lens of faith and spirituality, but in general. You don't know what it took for me to get here. So now that I'm here, I'm going to make the most of it. And the same thing with victory. We always say whenever positives happen, you pause, celebrate, and feed off of that energy, because there's times your energy might not be there. There's times that, yeah, you might be disconnected or reserved, or you don't feel like being bothered, or you get into isolation mode at times, but you can't stay there all the time. So that's our takeaway from chapter 8. Davidson County's person of interest. Many thanks to that individual for sharing that with us. And this comes from the book 9 Stories of Faith, Volume 1. So now a couple of quick announcements for today. Later today, tune in the Status Network at statusnetwork.net, the live TV channel, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, April 27th. For my show, The Conversation Corner. We've got 3 great guests. We've got Dr. Adrienne Simmons, candidate for Gwinnett County Public School Board of Education. So shouts to her. Shouts to Devo Robinson of Devo Entertainment up in Chicago, as he'll speak on Unity Day Chicago that takes place every Memorial Day weekend. It's definitely a much needed event. So folks in Chicago, make sure to get out there. We also have Kadir Thomas and the team behind In the City magazine, which does some outstanding work. So really excited to have them on. So make sure to add Status Network as well as LYVE Live TV on all your favorite social media platforms. Check them out tonight on Roku and Amazon Fire Stick. Join me this Saturday at Moore Middle School for their community day. I'll be out there with my display. I'll have copies of 9 Stories of Faith and Deeper Than Your Deepest Sleep, Thoughts on Love with Joseph Snorton available. And we will take orders for Nothing Minor, as we are a little bit behind on our inventory of that, but we'll also have some great info on there. Very excited for the month of June, for Juneteenth. I'll be taking it back home, not to Jersey, but taking back to Bloomington, Illinois. So I'm real excited about the third weekend of June being up where it all started. That's part of how the Arthur A. Snorton Origins merch series started. So Bloomington, Illinois. There's some interviews that are coming up on the horizon that'll be dropping real soon. Don't forget to join me May 28th and 29th for the Black Podcast Festival here in Atlanta, Georgia. I will be one of the speakers, so make sure to check out my social media as I'll do postings. And if you're on the newsletter, make sure to check out the newsletter that I do twice a month. Usually I mail it the first and third week of the month, so you're not getting overly bombarded. So to register for the newsletter and get the updates, make sure to email me at authorasnorton@gmail.com, or on any of the social media platforms. Like I said, Facebook, author Andrew Snorton, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, author A Snorton. You can inbox me and we'll get all the info out there. I think those are the main things to cover for today. So I pray and trust everyone has a good day, has a good week. Excuse me. And as I like to say, with anything, whether slow or swift, movement is movement, whether small or big, a victory is a victory. So keep it moving, keep victorious, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. Have a great day.